Good morning, Shirley.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure, what's up?
Okay, so what I'm planning on doing is over the next 6 years is converting an IRA and 401k money to a Roth IRA to reduce my RMDs at the
Okay.
age of 72.
Okay.
So the first one is with the IRA, it's about $70,000, and 8,000 of it was from after-tax money contributed in the years of 86, 87, 88, and 92. And about 4,000 was contributed from a company thrift plan rollover.
Okay.
The problem is I did not fill out that form 8606 for any of those 4 years. And I have a couple of questions on that. Will that trigger an IRS audit, or do I just fill out the forms, pay the $50, and be done with it when I convert it?
So I would suggest that you do just the latter. In other words, you just fill out the forms. I don't think it's going to trigger an IRS audit. It might trigger a question because you haven't filled out the 8606 in the past. But as long as you have the backup, and it sounds like you have very good records because you not only have the dollars, you also have the years. As long as you have the records, you're going to be fine to establish the basis. Now, the question I have
Okay.
for you is when you do those conversions, you want to probably do some strategizing, and I'm guessing you probably have thought of this already, but to calculate how many years you're going to do that between now and age 72 so that you spread that cost over several years if you have several years left.
Well, um,
So,
figured out we would be able to pay the taxes on the different amounts being converted each year
yes.
from our savings. And so we would take care of that. And the main purpose of it was to reduce the required minimum distribution at age 72 and beyond, because we would be put in a higher tax bracket, which then makes us pay IRMA on Medicare and Part D, and also
Okay.
Medicare Part B. So that was our thing. I was just concerned if there was anything we should be aware of that this would be a problem in doing,
No, no,
converting them to a Roth IRA.
I think you're fine. I would just do a pro forma tax return like I had suggested before, just to see how much
Okay.
you can convert each year and perhaps stay in a lower bracket versus trying to do this all at once.
Well, the first amount I gave you, that 70,000, would be done this year, and then additional amount equivalent to that would be done each year after.
Okay, all right.
That,
And we've already,
that,
and
that's in addition to any
so
other
that
income that you have.
yes, exactly. And we're trying to stay under a certain amount so we don't get into those higher tax
Okay.
brackets of 32%, what
Okay,
have you.
all right. So
Okay.
you're already
Okay.
in the 22%. You're just trying to avoid getting into the 30s.
Yes, we are.
I think your plan is terrific. I think that's smart. And then what I would suggest, and what a lot of folks don't do, and I'm just going to take your question and turn it around a little bit, is, as you know, I'm sure the Roth is one of the best savings vehicles, and that all of the compounding and all of the growth is not taxed. And what investments you put in that Roth is very important versus what you put in a regular IRA versus what you put into a taxable brokerage account. And so we would usually suggest to our clients that their most aggressive investments be in the Roth, those that you would expect to appreciate the most, right? And then in the brokerage account,
Okay.
the non-retirement account, you're going to want tax-efficient investments that hopefully generate long-term capital gains favorable tax rates. And then in your IRA, your regular IRA, not the Roth, you're going to want the fixed income portion because that's going to be taxed at ordinary rates, and you want that to grow, in theory, the slowest, right? So where you put the
Yes.
assets in those three different buckets of money is very important for tax efficiency. And it sounds like you've got a good plan in place.
Now let me be sure. I think you said this. I want to be sure that you're on the right track here. The tax amount that's due on the Roth. In other words, if you're moving $70,000 from an IRA into a Roth, and you've calculated the tax on that, whether it's 15,000, 20,000, whatever it is, you don't want to take that out of the Roth money. You
Right,
want
no.
you want to transfer it in whole, because otherwise
Correct.
you really set yourself back, and you'll never get caught up as to where you could be and should be by doing that conversion. Some folks do that, Gary,
Right.
and then they pay the tax out of the thing, and they really end up with a lot less in the Roth, and they're digging themselves out a hole for years to come and get back just to where they started.
Exactly.
You're
So-
right, and we already figured out. Okay, we were going to pay the taxes out of our current savings.
And
Okay,
that's
great.
perfect.
Good.
That's perfect.
The
Good.
whole amount is being rolled over.
Good. Okay.
And then I have a second
Sure.
question, and that concerns about moving individual stocks and bonds accounts that I've had for, since the 80s and 70s into a Fidelity account. We were being told to do that, but my concern is what is the benefit and what is the cons, the negative in doing that? Because currently I have Prudential stocks, some Bain stocks, and Lord Abbott funds. They're currently run, in the individual companies' statements I get from them, and Fidelity saying roll them all into a Fidelity account, and you can look at them all in one place. What's the benefit of doing that?
Well, the benefit is that you've got it in one place. It's easy to track. All the dividends and whatever they pay are going to be automatically reinvested. There's really no cost to roll that in there. You may have a modest cost when the time comes to sell, but the way the brokerage firms today are so inexpensive for those transactions,
Right.
it really is far more cost effective, and you only get one tax statement. So it's easy, and it's far easier to keep track of, particularly as we age, because you get these statements and you kind of forget what you have. And like I said, the nice benefit is that any income that they pay can be reinvested in that one account.
And I always think of what I call now the I-4 contingency. In other words, if your husband and yourself are on I-4 and you have an accident, God forbid, you're making it a lot easier for your heirs, and maybe children, to see everything on one statement. All of the cost basis information can be put on the Fidelity statement as well, so that can carry over. You can have Fidelity bring over the cost basis information from these prior purchases, and then you have it very easy in one place. So it is convenient. I can say this when we try to help clients who have passed away, and maybe we were managing a portion of their assets but not all of it, and it's somewhat of a nightmare for the children they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So if you make it easier for them, I think that's the main benefit.
And then one more benefit from an estate planning standpoint. You triggered something, Gary. You're going to set up that account as tenants by the entirety, I would presume. And the benefit to that is that if that one of you gets sued, those assets will be protected. But secondly, if you set it up by tenants by the entirety, you can also set it up as a TOD, which means that if you and your husband are gone, it's going to pass without probate to your survivors. And as opposed to having all those loose accounts somewhere that your kids or grandkids are going to have to deal with and probate and all that other stuff. So this is what we do day in and day out as certified financial planner practitioners, a certified financial group. We do investment management and wealth management for clients and financial planning for a fee. We work with our clients as fiduciaries. Our firm has been around for many, many years, almost going on 40 years.